And welcome back to the finishing line. Andrew is having a conniption there, trying to get the mics on board.
Have me wipe your arse next. It's literally there.
You didn't have your own either.
My mum was here. Sorry.
He's some man to blame other people for his own fucking mishaps. Tom is not here. He's still in South Africa. So today, as you know, we're going to do a Cheltenham review show. We'll try and keep it as short as we can. Try and get it done in an hour, not like the preview that lasted half the night. It will happen because I've been sick for the last few days and I can finally eat again. So I'm going to actually have some dinner today. Sean, how are you doing?
Yeah, great, Dave. Had a smashing week. It was long now. It was a marathon getting to the end of it, and it didn't help that our Paddy's Day fell at the end. So it was a right marathon, but I enjoyed it all. It was unbelievable. It's the best week of the year by far.
Yeah, it's very good. Andrew?
Still on a downer because it's over.
Yeah. Look, we'll go again next year. Everybody be doing their anti-post bets for next year, thinking that they're...
I done one already.
Thinking they're the fucking heroes that they are. We will review our anti-post picks probably, I think Tom is back maybe Friday, so in the Sunday show this week. And then a bit of housekeeping going forward. The few shows that we have for the remaining jumps fixtures, and we are going to have a show for the Irish Grand National, a couple of shows for Aintree, and obviously the Aintree Grand National, the Ayr meeting in Scotland, which is a decent enough jumps meeting towards the end of the year, the big Sandown meeting, the Bet365 meeting, and then obviously Punchestown. We are probably not going to do much of the flat racing, but we will pop in and do a preview for Royal Ascot. The four of us will be involved in that as well. And then we'll be back for the jump season in late September. We may do more on the flat, maybe like champions meeting and stuff, but we won't be going week to week like we did last year. We all got a bit burnt out from it, so we're gonna give that a skip this year and just do the bigger meetings.
Picking and choosing what we do, more or less. Yeah,
but we'll be here and there, so watch out for the shows. And when we do them, we'll probably just go live because they'll be few and far between. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Do the usual jazz. Please drop in and have a look at the website there as well. Andrew is going to give you the details there.
The finishlinepod.com. Articles, videos, more content. That'll be still going throughout the flat season. So there will be written previews of the big meetings on the weekend on that. And lads might do a clip every now and then just to keep the faces in. But yeah, the finishlinepod.com. That's the new website.
And the last bit of housekeeping is, we mentioned him a few times, Mr. Gavin Kenny, a fan of the show, and he was at the preview last year. He's had a rough year. He's been fighting the good fight. He got diagnosed with cancer, but text me today, and after 8 months, he's in remission.
Go on, Gavin.
That
says round of applause.
He's a bit more stuff to do, but he's in remission a couple of weeks, and then he can recover away and have a pint of Guinness. I think he's from Dublin. I could be wrong.
We have to meet up with Gavin for a pint.
But yeah, maybe we'll meet up at a track over the
summer months. The summer festival down to Travur.
No, I'm not.
The August meeting.
No,
by a bit of sun.
No, it's
dry
just terrible out there. Terrible.
Where then? I'd love to go to Clarny, but it's very, very far away.
I was reading about them sending the real whack over to Listowel for the Kerry National in September. I'd like to go into Listowel for the Kerry National. It's not a bad meet.
It's like 6 hours away.
But it'll be deadly, like.
The driving won't be.
But sure, I'll drive.
I'm in.
If you get in a hotel down, we're going in there for a couple of days. That's something that Tom would do as well, because he's cheap Guinness.
Get a Pimlico runner down there.
Oh, also very possible, yeah.
That would then negate the free tickets.
Yeah. Let's get that. I'm going to write that down.
Pat Healy's does that place, don't he?
Yeah.
I'll have a word Pat gets free tickets.
Right. Listowel. We're going.
Oh, Listowel. I'm going to Listowel in September. See you there.
Okay, we'll kick off. The boys in the comments have already kicked off, but that's another story.
They
They're
kick
open
off
to their own.
every day.
We'll go through the main graded races throughout the whole week and just touch on them all. And then maybe at the end, an eye catcher or two if we have it. And then, as I said, we'll review our anti-post show when Tom is back. First day, first race, Supreme Novice Hurdle, Grade 1, Marine Moose, done the business. My favourite man, Facile Vega. Second,
Did not do the business.
Second, I'd say he was outspeeded, not outstayed. And when he kicked off the bend, I thought the race is over. Maybe he's a tiny little bit of a wind issue.
On hindsight, I watched it back a few times. I think he went too soon.
Yeah. The Verge was third anyway, 25-1. I think Marine National, in my opinion, very good horse. I'd say Arkle, our champion hurdle bound next year, depending on where Conman goes. Possibly Facile Vega went a little too soon, but I think he went too soon because they're so confident he'd win that he didn't think anything would come from behind when he took him to the lead. But I'm not overly disappointed. He ran great, second in the Supreme Novice. Step up and trip Turners next year.
Yeah, I'm. This race started off and annoyed me. It annoyed me because of one reason. Because I put up Marine National as a horse to follow for the season. And I was done by my own rule of we can't put any horses up to follow up for the anti-post video. I just stung quite a bit. But very good winner. I really like this horse. I think he's an absolute speed merchant. The times, Sean probably touched on in a few minutes, but the times say he was more or less the same time as Constitution Hill. There's milliseconds in it. I think they were. I think going around Con Hill was 4 lengths behind from the fifth last, third last, second last, and last, and he made up them to 4 lengths going up the hill. Look, you can make it at what you want. Times are times. I don't really take notice of people seem to like him. But I think this is an unbelievable horse. We didn't think hindsight is a great thing. I'm going to say here, we didn't think he'd go on the ground, but yeah, when you go back to when he won at was a Fairy House, that wasn't good ground either.
Yeah, well, sure, the trainer's lying.
So look,
he is like
it was one of these years where I could never contradicted myself so much in my own thoughts to override myself, and my number one rule is always go with your first thought, and I kept overriding myself, and I fucking annoyed living daylights out of me.
Don't do it again.
I won't. Fucking first year I've done it, and annoyed living daylights out of me. But Arkle next year, I think he's nailed on for an Arkle. I think they'll go that way anyway. I hope they do, because I backed him for an Arkle already. But he's definitely a very good horse, and I said it every time I seen Facile Vega. You will not see the best of Facile Vega until he goes up and trip. This horse is crying out for a trip. Cuvega won the mares over, was it 2-4, whatever the mares is, and 3 mile grade 1 winner. I can see him going to another level now when he steps up and trip. I think he's Turners bound. I think he's just built for chasing. He looks like a massive chaser. He's going to be a very, very good horse. A horse to take out of that race is In the Pocket. He's going to be very good next year again with trip. He travelled well up to a point and stayed on really well up the hill. But yeah, Marine National, very good horse. Where we go next year, I think he'll go to the Arkle. Facile Vega step up and trip next year, and Diverge, I'll need to see him again.
Sean?
Yeah, this is a great race. This was the two of them. I don't know if I'm in the camp that Facile went too quick. I think I'm more. I went too early. Sorry. I think I'm more in the camp that Marine National just has more gears than him. I want to give a shout out to the jockey Michael O'Sullivan. That was some ride. For the second ride, I think it was at Cheltenham Festival in the first race. He didn't panic one piece. He went down to the last and let him pop and picked him up and knew he was going to pick up Facile Vega. That was incredible for me. He beat him well. I think Facile probably will end up going out and trip. As Andrew said, I think that's where you might see the best of him. He just doesn't have the gears that Marine National has. But it was hard to take first race in. I'd say probably a quarter of my anti-post bets went on this. But it was a tough one to take. I thought Diverge ran a good race. He was held up out the back ridden call. I think he was ridden for a place. I'd be interested to see if he turned up at a Fairley House or at Punchestown. He might be a little bit overlooked. I think he might get a little bit closer.
Yeah, Patrick rode every single horse he was on out the back, so
a
lot of it didn't work out. On to the Arkle. Grade 1 over 2 mile chasers. El Fabiolo favourite, done the job. John Bond was second. He's pretty much a distant second though. And Saint Watt was third because we had a faller. Andrew, Saint Fabiolo.
Saint Fabiolo. Unbelievable performance. John Bond was the one that decided not to jump. He was stuttering into his fences. He wasn't anywhere near confident. El Fabiolo was still throwing himself at fences, but he was getting over to the other side. Massive engine. I'm going to say it now. I think he wins the champion chase next year. I think there's a shitload more to come from this fella. And he backed up his performance at Dublin Racing Festival. There was no fluke about it. He battered Jambon. I think he's a very, very good horse. I think he's 6-1 right now for the champion chase. And Norgamine next year, he'll be a 10-year-old. I think is open for an up and coming there, and I think El Fabiolo will be that horse. Punchestown, I say, is his next protocol. Jambon, I think, is going to Aintree, Samoa. But yeah, El Fabiolo really, really impressed me. Champion chase to me next year is his for the taking.
Yeah, I thought he was very good as well. He's his own way of doing things as regards jumping, but very little racing experience, so maybe that'll come on in time. I know people are saying in the comments, and I've heard in other shows, John Bond for the Ryanair, but no, I'm out in John Bond now. There's just something about him after the other day that I didn't like. I thought he'd give El Fabiolo more of a race, and he's a lot more experienced, and
he never got in a rhythm. He was never traveling. He was whether that's him now, because that's not the first time he's after doing it. He done it at Haydock over hurls. He's after doing it at Wetherby over fences, and he had to doing it again in the Arkle.
Still a good run, but I wouldn't trust him at championship level at Cheltenham.
No,
I wouldn't. No. Sean?
Yeah, this was an unreal performance from El Fabiolo. One of the DRF did tell us that he could do this sort of stuff, but I wanted to see him back her up. I thought it was smashing. That was one of the better Arkles from down the years. I think he was bang up there. I thought it was a smashing race. The way he came around the bend, up the gap, up to the second last, he latched right in there when Paul asked him. He jumped in, not a problem. He's not slick, isn't he? Not. He just lacks that fluency, and I can see what Andrew's saying. He's a young horse. It does have a hell of a lot of potential. I just think if he needs to get to that championship level, I think he's going to have to slicken up his jumping. I don't know what it is. He's just a bit sloppy and all over the place. Just not fluent at all. It doesn't look like it comes natural to him. He has to sort of think about it. But in that race, I mean, John Bond was just as bad as him. As you said, I thought John Bond's jumping might stand to him a lot, but he was completely off his feet from the get-go. I wonder had gone that Galopin Des Champs Dynamo in there. He just couldn't do it. I'd say he could be stepped up and tripped now after that. But El Fabiolo was a great performance.
Yeah, Des Champs Dynamo just doesn't race right at all.
No, he'll never get away with it in grade 1 level. He'll get away with it in lower levels. He'll never, ever get away with grade 1 level. I think if El Fabiolo, if you take into consideration what's going to be there next year in the champion chase, you have an Ergamine who'll be he'll be 10 when he runs in it. He's the two races he won fell apart, but you couldn't win. Even saying that now this year, I don't think if anything ran that would have beaten him. He was that good this year, but I think he gets from A to B. He does it in a way that would frighten living daylights out of you. But I can only see him improving his jumping. He's with the right man, and I think, look, if he improves, he's going to improve from this. I think he's a hell of a chance in that champion chase next year.
Okay, champion hurdle next, and Constitution Hill Conzoom done as expected at a 4-11 favourite. Stateman was second, as a lot of people said he wouldn't be, and they were back on the likes of I Like to Move It and all that. And we had mentioned in the preview that Stateman, there was no other 160 plus horse in the race bar Stateman. And Danny here plugged on for third. He just is what he is. He's a weird old horse. I thought it was a stunning performance. He won it on the bridle, eased up 9 lengths. They've rated him 177p, so they expect better. Beating the horses he's beaten, I don't think he'll get a 180 performance. It'll need to be like a 20 length job to get a 180 performance, but he's definitely a 180 horse. Very good horse. I'd say they'll go over fences with him next year. By the sounds of it, that's where they want to go. Or it'll be one more champion hurdle, and then they'll just go straight over fences and just go straight for the Gold Cup, because that's kind of what they said as well. There'll be no reason to be kicking around.
I think they'll do it next year.
He's very, very good.
What I say on that now, away from Constitution Hill, I've never seen a Willie Mullins horse not try in the championship race. I don't care what anyone says. That State Man was not put into that race.
She couldn't keep up.
He gave up, Corning.
Couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
Paul just gave up because there was no point.
I know, but Jesus Christ, he gave up a long, long way out.
He was just.
Well, Con Hill is
coming around.
Is very, very good.
Coming around the bend, like Paul's on him, and he just sees this thing is in front of him and it's going further clear. Like what? There was no point in destroying State Man when he's going to turn up with the hurdle at Punchestown and most likely win it. Like his race could have been destroyed by trying to keep up with Con Hill when it wasn't going to happen.
I didn't even try. I think that in their head they were beat before they even went out on the track. It was getting them around, getting second place, and let's go home.
But yeah, I think he's very good.
Zanny here doesn't do anything for it, really, does it?
There's no faults in Constitution Hill.
I'm not saying there is. There's
none
whatsoever. But I'm only saying if that number 1 was Honeysuckle, it'd be a different story. That's all I'm saying. And everyone knows I'm right. But
he'd have barred Honeysuckle.
I know he would. I'm saying if Constitution Hill wasn't there and Honeysuckle was in front there, that'd be ship chatting hurdle. True or false?
It's like
True
I said.
Or false? Answer the question.
She wouldn't have been there.
The horses he's beaten and the ways he's not going to get 180.
But Constitution Hill, I think they will go 2 novice chases next year. The first one will be 2.5. Second one will be 3 miles, and third one will be Gold Cup. They are, by the 5 you're getting, they are not going to waste any time with this lad.
No. Oh well, I hope that happens. Sean,
according to Nico, they're going to school and behind closed doors.
Fucking Nico is useless. Sean, your baby, Con Hill.
Yeah, he's just a freak. He's genuinely just a freak. I understand what Andrew was saying about the State Man thing. I think they did go out to ride Miss State Man in second, for second, because I thought he would have been up on the lead, but when I seen him at the back out near the end, I was like, right, they're going to accept that. And then, as you said, they didn't give him enough time. I think they didn't want to end him. I think he knew his game was over. As soon as he turned that bend, he wasn't getting anywhere near him. He just let him go in and pop the last, and he didn't lift the whip once on him. But for Con Hill, you can just do anything with this fella. You can put him anywhere, any race, any pace. He's just going to sit there, jump and go. Now, I tell you, Nico de Vineville's nuts must have been in his mouth that gone over that last, because that was within an inch of going terribly wrong. He took off outside the wings and he just about got there. I nearly came off the chair, I'm not going to lie to you. I seen it from a mile out and I took a gasp, but he got there and he's just winning on the bridle. I honestly couldn't tell you how much is under the bonnet there. I think I beat the drum for a while. I genuinely think he is the best hurdler we've ever seen. The talent he has is just unreal. He's just bashing these horses and then we're looking and saying, oh yeah, he's expected to do that. But he is expected, but he's doing it at the same time on the bridle. Like, he's sort of getting looked over a little bit because he's doing it. I couldn't hold this fella in a higher regard, and I think the sky's the limit with him, to be honest. I could see them going straight into open company if they go over fences. I don't think they'll mess around with the novice campaign for too long. But I don't know what they'll do. As they said, they're going to skill him behind closed doors. I guess no one's going to know anything until next September.
What I'll say now about him, he's very brave. He's very accurate. And that might play against him in the fence.
Yeah.
Do you know what the problem is Cheltenham to sort out as well? Is that shadow with that final hurdle. Yeah. That's the only reason he took off early.
Yeah, probably.
Because you can see it happened with Annie Power. It happened with Benny. Who else done it before but made it over? Someone else done it before. It's becoming a problem. It's always the champion hurdle as well. They seem to be that time of the day, 3:30 on a Tuesday afternoon in March.
Like that's honestly, that was like inches within going wrong. He was so lucky to get away with that.
He's very good. It's probably Nicky's horses didn't run all that well all week as well, so he probably
And
snagged up.
just on the, I think they might be looking after him a little bit as well. I know you were worried about his longevity. I don't think they're going to let him go and win by what you want, by that 15, 20 lengths. He's only slapped him down the shoulder, and I think they are looking after him, to be honest with you. I know he's tearing them apart, but I don't think they're asking him anything more than needs to be done at the moment.
It's still going to take a bit out of him.
Yeah,
you can't put in them performances and not take something out of you. And the
will-
Nico Stonehands on top of him as well.
we shall see. And Sean said he never seen him off the bridle. There might be nothing there when he comes off the bridle, but you're going to have to try and get him off the bridle.
Stick him up in the Gold Cup, and the best horse and trainer will do it to him.
Okay, the Mayor's
Won the Black
Hurdle,
Dragon.
Grade 1, and Honeysuckle's last race. She done the job. Love Envoy was second, ran a really gallant race. She was questioned by some. And Queensbrook done what Queensbrook does, just kind of runs well in all these
She's
races.
grand down there, isn't she?
Doesn't win that many, but she tips along and does her business. Marie's Rock was pretty disappointing, but I had questioned her form going into it. Honeysuckle, very good. I thought it was great for Henry. Not my favourite mare or anything, but it was a good day for racing. And after Constitution Hill as well, it was a good story. So I'll leave Andrew take it.
Best day, best moment ever in racing. Fairy tale endings do happen in racing. Literally made me cry a bit. Not gonna lie. It
Made me cry as well because I love Envoy back.
It was everything everybody wanted in Cheltenham. Cheltenham never saw the scenes that happened after that before in many a year. There was 40 people deep, places packed in the parade ring when she come back in. It was brilliant for Henry. It was brilliant for Honeysuckle. Brilliant for Rachel. She's a once in a lifetime mare. She might finally start getting the credit she deserves. It was one of the best moments I'll probably ever have in racing. I followed from day one to up to the last week. It was a good performance in the end. Turned into an unusual, came off the bridle a bit. Slow jump as always at the last. Love Envoy headed her, went up at a half length. She battled back to win by a length and a half or so, whatever it was. But I don't know, I could babble on all day, but it was just the best moment of racing I've ever had.
Sean?
Yeah, the story was unbelievable. I don't think I've seen that parade ring. The amount of people that were there everywhere, even up in the stands above the parade ring, it was crazy. I'd say it was unbelievable to be in. Just on the race itself, I tell you, I'd have to question a couple of jockeys in here. They get the two in front, the free lead, and I was questioning, like, they went no gallop at all. I thought for the jockeys that were in behind, like the Boinville was up on the rail, but then behind that again, like the boys in there would have to ask themselves some serious questions. But I thought Love Envoy had a smashing run out the front. She set her own fractions. She just wasn't good enough. Honey, when she came over that last and you heard the roar, you always had a feeling she was going to pick up and get there, didn't you? That was a fairy tale ending, as Andrew said. It was great to see.
I genuinely said it to you. I could have the rest of the week losers and I couldn't give a fuck after that.
Yeah, there was a few comments there.
And it nearly happened, to be honest.
There's a few comments, and Sean touched on it as well. Yeah, some of the jockeys. There was some poor rides all week, to be honest, but that race in particular was very bad. Really bad.
I didn't go through that race analysis and analyze it at all because every time I went to do it, I was just watching Honeysuckle and didn't give a shit what's going on behind her. So
yeah,
I've rose tinted glasses view on that race.
Yeah, coming to the second last, she's about 10 of them there trying to do it. It was crazy. Carry on.
Yeah, it was stupid.
Great race. Shut up.
Last race, the man himself who had his wang out done the business.
Oh, Wang was well and truly out in Alfie's, lads.
We'll just quickly touch on this. Scared the Manil. Patrick was miles back on this as well. Chemical Energy second. The horse I was told had no chance, but there you go. Another second. And Mr. Coffee, he's a fucking idiot. Like, was third. Manor Mission fell. He looked like it was a tired fall, but he does stay strong. So I do think Patrick is in trouble, but Gerd Manil got the job done. Andrew, happy?
Very happy. Wang was out all over the place. It was kind of gone up inside me when they turned in for home. I was like, what the fuck is Patrick Mullins doing?
Yeah, I was mediocrely happy because I had a big bet on Gare de Menil, but I also had the same amount on Malor Mission to be second.
And it's another anti-post thing that annoyed me. I'm back to 7s and 8s, and they didn't put him up. Like, the hell was I doing? But yeah, look, I think Patrick Mullins gave this a shambolic ride, if I'm honest, and he got away. I say he got away, but he did get away with it in a way. That Malor Mission was a tired fall. You see the camera angle turn, and you can see his stride shortening.
Yeah,
and he couldn't sort himself out going to the fence, and he just walloped it, and that was the end of it. I think he would have caught him because by the looks of it, he was going to start tying up going up that hill, where like many thousands of horses had, and he eventually won by 2 3/4 lengths. So I think he would have got up. But yeah, he's there. Where'd you go with him now? What do you do with him? I don't know. He's entered in the Irish National. He's entered in the English National. I don't think he's good enough for him now. He probably have too much in the weight, but he had his day in the sun. I am happy. That's all I can say.
Dave, you were on the Greenway on Friday during the Golf Cup, the Gold Cup. No, I wasn't on the Greenway. I was in the pub. I was most definitely in the pub. Sean?
Yeah, Gare de Menil. I had a sweat on myself, let me tell you that. I don't know. I just Paddy Mullins in these races sometimes, like out the back, is like, why do you need to be that far back? I know the horse was jumping a little bit high, but I thought he could have been up a hell of a lot closer. As for Marla's Mission, I definitely think he would have stopped. The jockey came up off him about 4 or 5 strides to the fence and tried to let him find it himself, and he still managed to root the thing. I think it was a third fall. I think he would have picked him up, and then he just outside Chemical Energy. But I got to swear on for this, but listen, we collected in the end, so it was a good thrill.
Exactly.
Okay, on to Tuesday. The Ballymore Novices Hurdle. Imperi passed on the job 5-2. Gaelic Warrior another second. 9-2. Champ Kiley 13-2. Willie Mullins 1-2-3. Imperi passed to me looked like a champion hurdler for next year. I thought he was very good. Gaelic Warrior is just so talented, but is a fucking lunatic.
Lacking a few brain cells, Dave.
He's missing a few 1s and 2s upstairs.
Might not been a different story. He would have been a lot closer if someone else was on his back.
Sure, look.
That's another shocker by Paddy.
Paddy gave a lot of shockers.
Jump past him. Oh, sorry, Paul. Did I take your position?
Yeah, it was stupid. He jumped past him 4 out and he just gave it back to him. There's a few more. He was terrible in Mr. Incredible as well, but there you go. Yeah, I thought it was a very good race. Very impressive performance.
Very good. And this was the race where I put into the group, said, I am never, ever, ever back in an English yak again. I broke my own rule and I'm never doing it again. That was the betting pattern in this race was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
There was drifts and not drifts and everything.
Herpes Allen drifted out to 9-2, came back into 7-4. Imperial Pass went out to nearly 3-1, and back into 5-2. Oh, what the hell is going on here? Bots everywhere. Just button pressing that, back that. It's just bot money, not being bot money, just busting shit all over the place. How Herpes Allen in the end went off 9-4, I don't know. And I'm ashamed that I backed him. I'm going to be honest with you. Ashamed of myself that I backed him.
I tried to warn his lads.
But look, you live and learn. Imperi Pass. Sometimes you just got to listen to the preview nights when every mother, father, son, daughter is putting up Imperial Pass. But yeah, he stamped a really good horse. Paul gave him a great ride up the rail. Gaelic Warrior looks like they're going to step him up to 3 miles. I'd say they'll do that at Punchestown. He's some engine, God bless him, but he's no brain. Champ Kiley is one I really took out of this, to jump out and pull and tear your way around Cheltenham and still finish 4 3/4 length off not 4 3/4 length. That would be 6, 7, 8, about 10 lengths off the winner. Was a very good performance. I'd like to see him over a fence next year. Grade 1 level, I don't know yet, but to do that, it was very good. But Imperial Pass next year, He could be you could do that with him. You go champion hurdle, you could go Turnage, you could go Arkle, you could go anywhere with him. He still looks raw. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And he's a big fecker. But yeah, Imperial Pass, very good performance. Gaelic Warrior seems to be still improving. It'd be interesting to see what he does at Punchestown. But yeah, good race. Top 3, very good. I wouldn't be dismissing them wherever they go next season.
Sean?
Yeah, I love this fella. We put him up in the anti-post, and as Andrew was talking about the bet and the pattern on this was mad. Like, no English horse was anywhere near the places. So Hermes Allen went out to like 5-1 the night before, and then just before the off, Imperial Passe drifted back out to 7-2, and it was crazy. But this fella, you can put him anywhere. I think he's so professional for a novice. It's great. He jumps, he travels, and as you said, Gaelic Warrior jumped up inside him on the 5th. Pulling, and I thought that was going to set him off, to be honest. But he just pulled down and just took a pull, and he dropped his head again. He's jumping, and then I thought Paul was very clever going down to the second last. Danny was going out right the whole race, and Cobden was outside of him, and he just kept getting taken out. And Paul went up the inside of him on Imperial Passe, which led him on the rail and kicked off the bend, and he done some damage from the second last home. Jeez, he sprinted. I think he is the best novice. I think he's the best novice out of them all, to be honest with you. I think he beat Marine National. For Gaelic Warrior, I thought that was a good run. I'd love to see him step up to 3 miles now, to be honest with you. I'd love to see it at Punchestown if he went in the stars, novices. And Champ Kiley, just doing Champ Kiley things. I think he just needs to go right-handed. He's a bit of a Fruit Loop as well.
If Gaelic Warrior was yours, would you drop him down to 2 miles, step up?
No, step up and trip.
I'd drop him down. I think he travels too well to be stepped up and trip.
No.
I'd drop him down and trip. Off you go, son. Best of luck.
But what you were saying, I think Paddy wanted to be in Paul Townend's position, and that wasn't happening.
But he literally gave it back to him. He said, even in his interview, he said, "Oh, Paul had my position that I wanted." You fucking literally jumped past him. Take it. But stable rules are stable rules at the end of the day.
Yeah, he could be very good. Like, he could be talking. We need speed for a Ballymore. He could easily be dropping back down to 2 miles next season. And if Constitution Hill doesn't stay over hurdles, I could see him being number 1 for Willie.
Willie'll definitely put 1 against him.
That'll be Imperial Pass.
Imperial Pass, if he does.
Imperial Pass. Speed 1 will go Turners, but I can't see it. The Brown Advisory, formerly the old RSA, Grade 1. It's just
broke my heart, this race.
Yeah, the real whacker 8-1. Done the job. Jerry Clum 5-4 favourite. Second, Braun in third 50-1. To be honest, it's just a dog shit race. I don't even know. I have no real strong feeling about this. I thought Jordan was a little bit too far back, and Jerry Clum, he needs more use made of him. Should have won. There's no question he should have won. Fair play to the connections of the real whacker out there in front, and pass me if you can, but just a terrible, terrible race.
Yeah, bad race, bad result, I think, for many people. Yeah, I think, look, we're not on the backs and we don't know what was going on. He was jumping, it was okay at best, but he should have kicked on a lot earlier. When you have a lot of...
I have to pee.
Okay, if you have a lot of stamina underneath you kick on. I know he's a young lad, and it was his first race and the first time in a big, massive stage like Cheltenham in a Grade 1. If this was on the new course, I've no doubt in my mind he would have won. The rate, I don't know. It's a race I probably won't look at it much next season. The real whacker, he's good, yeah. Open company, no thanks. Jerry Colom, he'd probably win the Mickey Mouse race in Ireland, the second season novice. I'd say he might go with Down Royal. God only knows. But yeah, look, it's not much of a race, Sean. The real whacker, look, best jumper at the end of the day won the race. Best ride won the race. Not going to take that away from him, but where he goes, God only knows.
Yeah, I didn't think he was up to this now. But as you said, I thought the ride, when I thought it was a smash in front of the ride, he dictated as he wanted. He slowed and quickened whenever he wanted. He jumped like a bunny. I think on Jerry Colom, I think Gainford was a little bit far back, and when they kicked down the hill, he just couldn't go any quicker to close the gap. And he just couldn't get that gap back until he got over the last and he hit the hill. As soon as he hit the hill, he started motoring. I just don't think he had the gear. I think Sam Twiston-Davies rode the race perfectly, that they were quick enough going down that hill, and Jerry Colomb just couldn't go as quick as them, and he could never close that gap until he got to the last. And as you said, as soon as he hit that hill, another stride and he was by. I don't know. I can't really blame Gainford. Like, it could have been a bit closer, but I just don't think the horse was quick enough. And for Braun being in third, that was a bit crazy. But listen, I don't know. I wouldn't be carrying this with much weight myself either going forward. I can't, like, put it this way, I don't see any of this being anywhere near the Gold Cup next season. So I don't think I'll be carrying it too far.
Nah, you got to make more use of that horse, I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Sure.
he was too far back. He wasn't. He should have been up next with forcing the pace.
He's one speed and it isn't very fast.
It's a 3-mile novice race. They're not going to be going on electric pace, and he's 1 over 2.5. He should have been able to keep going with that lot. If you have any aspiration on anything next year, that horse needed to be good enough to keep on their tails.
Keith Buckley, he must. The real backer must be good because he beat Jerry Colomb. I just don't think any of them are much good, to be honest. I'd be very surprised if they go like anywhere close in the Gold Cup or the.
Oh, these have no hope in hell in the Gold Cup.
Onto the Queen Mother. Enogamene done the business again. Got the downpour. Ground came in his favour. Captain Guinness ran well. All the Bromhead horses ran well all week, to be honest. Ground team was third. Edward Stone's bitterly disappointing after 2 fences. If you backed him, you knew he wasn't going to do anything. I wouldn't say he liked the ground. Kind of the second year in a row, the race is falling apart, and Enogamene has picked up the pieces. Can't question it. He done pretty much the same thing. Loves the ground. Galloped, jumped well. It's just the last 2 years, the race is just, it hasn't been overly exciting. To me anyway, because the battle that we thought we were going to get just didn't happen.
No, as you said there, you knew your fate after about 2 fences with Edward Stone. I can't take that away from Enogamene. He's done as much as the 2 races fell apart the last 2 seasons. He done this the way he done in his younger days, out from the front. His jumping was so much better when he was forcing the pace. 10 lengths on the snaff. Paul Townend was smiling coming up the home straight. Where in a Grade 1 do you have a jockey smiling after jumping the last? It was an unbelievable performance, but here's the but. This could be the worst 2-mile chase division we've seen in a long, long time. This is why I think something younger like El Fabiolo coming up will close the gap greatly. Can't have Everstone ever again. I crabbed this horse for so many years, and again, changed my fucking mind over 1 run, and it done me again.
Look, it happens.
I was delighted to see Captain Guinness travel so well. I love this horse. He's a little fruitcake. I love him. Travel so well. I can't believe Paul Townend got 4 days for what he done, and the lads in the bumper got a slap on the wrist, and lads, you'd be grand. But yeah, very good race in terms of Enogamene, his performance. He'll go on now to Punchestown and do it again. But I think he might be vulnerable next year to El Fabiolo.
Kieran Rellis, the Bally lad's name is Dave. Hi, I'm Dave.
Hi, Dave.
And if you're here and think that we won't call out jockeys and stuff like that, you're in the wrong place.
What?
Sean, fire away.
What?
It's gone.
Yeah. I kicked myself badly over this. I went into the Edward Stone camp. I questioned the Enogamene after Cheltenham last time. He must have been 50% fit or something, or they done something or something. They must have been training for weeks before that run at Cheltenham. Because
don't you just feel horrible when you see him jumping out in the front? We're saying it all season. The champion chase now. He's going to go out in front, be back to his best. What the fuck do we do? We back in Enogamene, you absolute tish.
Yeah,
so angry with yourself.
Yeah, that run in the race that was changed to Cheltenham, I thought he was maybe gone. I thought maybe his better days were behind him, but they must have sent him there 50%. But you knew straight away, as soon as he popped out, he's on Edward Geets, geared the whole way. He was jumping, he was everything. I think this is possibly one of his best career runs. It's up there with the Punchestown run beating Chacon Bourgeois for me. I just think he was electric that day. I don't think anything would have beat him. He went, what horse do you see in the champion chase going to the second last on the steel, going up to the last on the steel, and still up the hill on the steel, laughing at everyone? I thought the performance was unbelievable. I had to blink twice when I seen it was Captain Guinness coming around the bend. I'm not going to lie. I couldn't believe the stuff I was seeing. Where Edwardstown didn't.
Do you know what was more funny as well? The two of them traded even money on the turn. The two of them. Captain Guinness and Ergme traded evens.
I couldn't believe it when I seen it coming down the hill. But they put Edward's Geet away at the third last, and Edwardstown was gone, and it was a parade from then up the straight. I thought he was class.
This race was over for the top of the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Because you knew the fella that's on the snaff next to him was Captain Guinness. You want to spit that lad out.
It's an argument done the business. The cross country chase, we're not going to spend long on this. Delta worked on the job. Again, the ground came in his favour. Outstayed Galvin, Franco Deport in third. Happy with Delta work?
Yeah, people crabbing this. They wanted to turn to a handicap. I don't. I want the 11 to 10, 6 to 4 certainty every year. Thank you very much.
Sean?
Yeah, I got a little bit windy before the race. He was one of my big up anchors of the meeting. When I seen this Galvin coming in, I got a little bit windy, but then I seen the rain come, and I think he was dawdling with him from the top of the straight. When then he went over the last, he just pumped the bed nicely. I think where did he go? He'd probably go to Grand National, will he, or just keep?
Yeah, he's going national now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good at horses, Delta work. I think he got a bit of love this year for he didn't get last year for beating Tiger Roll, but
we forgive him.
People were depending on him this year, and he done the job, and you'll get forgiven for that.
I'd say it'll be the same next year. It'll be, if it's good ground, Galvin will win. If it's soft to heavy, Delta work will win.
Yeah, like he had his 2 ears pricked. You look on the bench, you were looking, and you were saying, "Geez, I think Davey might have a little bit more here." But he pricked his ears, and he was doing absolutely nothing. Was
it the second last, the two and jumped together, and they gave him a little squeeze coming in the home turn? I was like, "Oh fuck!" Then Keith Dunner just goes, "Up we go," sits up, and off he goes.
The champion bumper, the lads' horse, unfortunately, did not place.
It's not for me.
The form from Dublin Racing Festival stood up, even in different ground. A Dream to Share won. Factifoil was second. Captain Teague was third. There's a bit of madness on the run-in. Again, it's not my favourite race in the meeting. We had discussed this. The lads had found a 25 to 1 shot that, in the end, I think went off about 6 to 1. So they had a good bet going, but just couldn't get it done. A Dream to Share looks a nice prospect going forward, but I don't know. We never know what really happens with these bumper horses.
Nah, I want to see him jump a hurdle before I say anything about him. But the horse, I can't remember the name of the horse. I should have wrote it down. In the white and red, Willie Mullins.
Lecky Watson.
I liked him. He went through it nicely till he got absolutely upended by Harry Cobden and
murdered.
Paddy Mullins.
Paddy Mullins and Doom. He was a meat and a sandwich, God bless him. But look, Johnny Gleeson gave him a great ride. He stayed out of trouble, kept him on the best ground, and best horse won. There's nothing else to say.
Sean, disappointed, and it's for me.
Yeah, I was. Listen, it's no use getting value if it doesn't pay any bills, I'll tell you that. I thought maybe at the time, he was travelling, he was going a bit too well. He was in Paul's hands. And then he was the only horse to come down the inside. Now, he could show a couple. Listen, he didn't finish out the back of the telly. It wasn't an atrocious run. He was the only one to come down the inside, and the rest of them all came down the outside. Not to say that, listen, I don't think that was going to make the difference between winning and losing, but I thought there might be a couple of lengths in there. For the winner, I think the winner is an out-and-out 2-miler. He just clicked through the gears that none of them had. I thought Factifoil will be a stayer next season. And Captain Teague, I was surprised. Like, he was well ahead of the British. He came from a Plumpton. Bumper, and that was a mega run for me. But it's for me. Listen, you're probably getting back at Punchestown on better ground. I imagine at Punchestown. I don't think it'd be anywhere near as bad, and it'd be price dependent whether I went in again or not.
Yeah, I'd say Captain Teague will win a few races next year in England, hurdle races, but it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest now if something from France pops up, trained by Willie Mullins, and it's a good bit better over hurdles than a Dream to Share. So
yeah, turns up in them lovely pink colours and
I would say
it could already be in the stable for all we know.
It's probably in the corner over there, out brought out in the grass every morning. Yeah, you'll do for next year.
On to Thursday, the Turner's Novice Chase, another Novice Chase won by an English horse, and stage star Paul Nichols hasn't had a winner in a couple of years, and he got one here. Not long till May, who's being run around the likes of Perth and all, not Perth,
Plumpton.
no, fucking muscle brand place like that. And Mighty Potter could not get the job done at 4-6, so another disappointing result for Gordo. I thought Stage Star was good, jumped well. Going forward, might win another couple of races, but having not long till May in second is not probably strong for the form.
No, it looks terrible. Again, best ride, best jumper in the race won the race. It's like the real whacker. And Mighty Plopper, you could never back that horse again. Don't care where he runs. He's a fucking Fruit Loop. Like, nothing went wrong from in the race. He was there in between. He jumped well. He came out and he decided to hang again.
See, we were talking about this in the pub. People, he didn't win because he hung. He didn't win because he didn't pick up.
Yeah.
He hangs all the time. He goes to the rail on that right side all the time. He did it at Leopardstown. He did not pick up. When the camera turned, they were coming around the bend. He was close enough to win. Davey gave him the whip, pushed him along, and he didn't go anywhere.
But when he was hanging, he was still going forward.
There was nothing there. Appreciated hung way worse. So
yeah, look, it's a race I will not be looking at next year in terms of next year whatsoever.
No.
Good performance. Look, Paul Nichols, I guarantee you now, he says Cheltenham is the be all of end all after this week. He'll have a nice army there next year, I'd say. But yeah, good performance in the end. Look, won it well, stayed on well, but having not long to May in second, and now I don't know. Yeah, move on.
Sean.
Yeah, I think Stage Star, I think he got a great ride off the front. He held enough and he jumped out of the last and he went to pull away by about 3 or 4 lengths. As you said, not long till May. Like, that just tells me that the two out in front probably got their own way. Like, he had no right to be in there at all, and they probably given a freebie on the front. But Mighty Power, I'm sick of jumping the bandwagon now, to be honest with you. I was happy the most way around. I was happy right up until the third last. And then I seen them coming into the bend and he started doing the head thing, and I was like, oh no. I don't know if he's ungenuine or he just doesn't want the battle in among horses. I'm not too sure what it is. But then that carry on going halfway across the track and stuff, he was going forward, but there's no excuses in there for me at all. Like, if they thought this was a Gold Cup horse, that bubble is well and truly burst by now. I just don't know what to make of him. I won't trust him again.
Only Gold Cup, that thing will be winning is the Perth Gold Cup.
I'll back him again. I'll give him another chance and just think maybe Cheltenham isn't his track after all. That's twice he's
if he was a sharp price now, would you go near him?
Not a sharp price, but he'll be a decent price in something like the Powers Gold Cup at Ferryhouse, and I'll back him. I'll give him another shot away from Cheltenham because his form away from Cheltenham is all ones.
I can see him going off a sharp price again.
Same thing.
He went in that, and I can see him doing a fucking York Hill.
Same thing happened last year. Went off 16-1 at Punchestown against Sir Gerhard and whoever else, and he won. And
he wasn't fancy then, though.
Do you think he doesn't like a battle? What do you think it is?
He won't be fancy next
I think
time.
he wants people of. I think
he's just a bit nuts.
Does he want
Cheltenham might not be his track.
It mightn't be.
For some horses, it just doesn't suit them. So
that is a fair argument to the point because he's had blown out twice there.
Twice they are blown out twice, and that's twice he's travelled over to England and not seen out a race. So
it's true. Yeah,
could be the boat.
I might have a look at them again on the back of that, thinking of it. Punchestown, I'd say they go Punchestown.
No, I think they'll go to Ferryhouse novice race, 2.5 miles. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose they'll have to go 3 miles or 2 miles at Punchestown, won't they? I don't think there's a 2.5.
Yeah, they go to try. I think they try the 3 mile. Why not? If you think he's Gold Cup horse.
Yeah, we should see. I would not back him at Cheltenham next year again.
No.
I won't back him at Cheltenham.
Nope.
The Ryanair, Kubo was over with us in Waterford and he was buzzing because Envoy Allen came back to form, won at 13-2. Shishkin was second, did not jump well, can't jump like that and win a race, but probably, as Sean already said to us before we started, if he actually probably had a jump 3 out, he might have won.
Oh, he would have.
Staying on so well. Hitman was third, who actually ran a decent race. I was delighted for Kubo. Another good result for Henry. don't know what to make Envoy Allen because his run in the King George is just incredible to then come back and do this. But fair play to the horse. He's taken his fair share of knocks over the last few years, but done the job on the big day. Seems to love Cheltenham because that's 3 wins.
That 3-time Cheltenham Festival winner.
3 wins in a fall.
I would not be complaining if I owned him. He could do whatever the fuck he wanted throughout the year. If he turns up at Cheltenham and does that, happy days. When he jumped off, would have been the second, and his Rachel was sitting there on the outside, full of horse, like, his lad is on a going day. But Shishkin, I think it's starting to become the curse of the Ascot Chase. How many horses have run in that race, won it, and bombed out at Cheltenham? A lot.
Yeah,
I know there's been 1 or 2 now that'll buck the trend. There's been a lot that run in that race. Top of my head, that waiting patiently, Shishkin has done it twice. There's been a few more that done it. But I think it's a bit too close to Cheltenham if you want to have a big race. I think they need to move it a week or 2 backwards to give anyone a chance. But Shishkin jumped 3 out. I think a lot of people who didn't back, taking the Envoy Allen glasses off, I think he would have got up. Because that jump 3 out, he absolutely went through the goddamn thing. And probably 4 out, and 5 out, and 6 out, because he was jumping out to his left, he was jumping out to his right, he was banging into horses, he was jumping up horses. He was doing everything wrong, but still managed to finish 2 3/4 lengths in a Ryanair. Yeah. What do you do with him next? That's your problem. Do you step him up and trip now again? Do you give him a break? Because that's too hard. That is one hell of a your season is over race. If he was mine now, you'd be right, lad. You're going out in the field. You're out there having one there now. I think if they run him at Aintree, now that could be. They're all saying, "Oh, his bone problems. We need to look after him." If you're going to run him, Ascot, Cheltenham, Aintree with a horse that has problems. Nicky, you're a fantastic trainer, one of the best in the world. You need to be having a look at your flat.
Problems in his brain. Sean?
Yeah, I love this personally. I loved him by Allen, but I lost faith in him. I didn't think he had this in him at all. I thought the best days were going behind him. But Henry the Bromhead's horses, geez, they turned some for him. They were primed ready for this Cheltenham. Like they haven't been all season. They turned around big time. But he was travelling straight away. He was up there. He was jumping. He was jumping excellently until 3 out. He pecked a little bit, but he picked back up the bridle straight away. And he was on the steel going down to the second last, and he put them away. And the Shishkin, I do think, the red alarms were out early. Nicola Boinville was under a full pump going down to the first, and it was nearly like the Champion Chase 2.0 in the early stages of that race, but he picked up. But then he had a horrid ride. He was in and out. He was bashing off horses, and he ended up getting them down to the rail when they went past the stand the first time. And then he hit 3 out, and that was good night from there. He picked up well. Listen, he fought on him for second. I don't know what you do with him. I think they were talking 3 miles or Aintree, but as Andrew said, I wouldn't be a fan of him backing up them 3 runs quickly. But it was good to see Envoy Allen get his day back in the sun.
Yeah, it was, to be fair.
Go on, Roy. Still a 3 mile box.
Yeah, there you go. I think old Kieran Rellis and Jim Toffin, I'm going to name both are 2 bots in the system. I'd say they're from another podcast because they're just thrown in abuse. But Martin Lewis is giving it back to him. So
what are they saying?
Just 2 fucking idiots. Kieran, don't start crying because I'm going to give out another jockey in 2 races time. Just so you're ready.
We're giving out by jockeys.
Yeah.
Well, switch off then.
Yeah, Martin Lewis tossers both. They're 2 tossers. The Paddy Power Stairs Hurdle. Sire de Burley, who's won at Cheltenham numerous times in the Pretemps, done the job at 33-1, and Tia Hoopo and Dashel Drasher fill the places. Sire de Burley is incredible around Cheltenham. I'd say Tia Hoopo is probably the one to take out of this going forward. Youngest kind of horse, up and coming horse. I'd say Gordo just thought he's never going to get a decent winner over the week with Jerry second and Tia Hoopo place and
even at that he was technically third.
So you know, I actually felt for Gordo a little bit. He will get his day in the sun over there. He'll win a couple of grade ones. He will. What do you think of this?
I've something here. I was talking to someone who does times and things as well. Gave me this one. Flooring Porter was 16 lengths behind. This is in comparison to the Carl Cup now, same day. 16 lengths behind the Carl Cup pace.
The Pertemps.
Pertemps, sorry. Carl Cup, Pertemps, same difference. Not really. Pertemps. And then halfway, an injection of pace. And by the second last, so halfway, about round halfway, 16 lengths behind Carl Cup pace. Pertemps, Jesus Christ, Pertemps. By the time he got to the second last, he was 8 lengths ahead of that pace. So that's telling you that Flooring Porter did not get to do stop-start tactics through that race, which turned this race into an absolute out-and-out staying race. Hence why Side of Burley and out-and-out stayer probably won it.
On the job.
Blazing Cal didn't stay.
Yeah, he did. He looked like he didn't stay, to be honest.
Didn't stay. Home by the Lee, one of the most unluckiest horses of the week. Made an absolute Horlicks of the third last or second last. It would have been made up some load of ground to get where he did. But fair play to you for back Side of Burley to win the Stayers hurdle. Look, in hindsight again is a great thing. Less than a year ago, he beat Flooring Porter at Aintree. He's just a horse you just dismiss, don't you?
Nuts.
It's like, yeah, you're a grand horse. You're a Pertemps horse, aren't you? Why are you doing going winning grade ones?
That's just nuts. Kieran's definitely a bot, by the way, because he thinks Sean should be on Emma Kennedy's podcast. But Sean, what do you think of the Stayers hurdle?
Before then, anyways, the betting. I was on Flooring Porter before this, but Tom and his French Yak Brigade had some absolute party on this gold tweet.
Yeah.
What price did he go off? 11 to 2.
And he got the worst rides you'll ever see in history.
Lads, I laid him 4 places, and he was 9 to 10. I didn't give this thing a hope of being in the places. And then I seen the jockey riding him like he was on Frankel. He's still on the steel coming down over the second last.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I'm either in big trouble or I'm gone here. And he just had nothing. It was brilliant. He just folded.
The trainer gave him some bashing after.
He was miles too fast.
Did you hear what the trainer said?
And I'm not joking. If you go and have a look at this, right, he's genuinely riding for Frankel. He's just sitting there on the steel, about 30 lengths back.
About 2 furlongs to go.
It's very strange.
Yeah, but I said to Dave, I thought Flooring Porter was bang back. You're at the reading of the times there. I just don't think he didn't get the chance to fill him up. I thought Flooring Porter was really back to his best. Then he just didn't get that stop start that he does and builds them up, and the ground as well. I think the combination of both Caramel, and he just wasn't able to kick again going down to the last. But Side of Burley's, I mean, there was there. He stayed on. I don't know what to make it to Hupu. I don't know if I'd want to be following him again next year. I'd be hoping something sort of comes out and maybe is a bit better than him. But Dashel Drasher, I didn't think he'd stay either. They're not the horses I thought I'd have running for me against Gold Tweet. But listen, they've done the job, and Sir de Bourlais, great record at Cheltenham. He always run his race. So it's probably his place.
Yeah, I think Hupu had loads of time to go past Dashel Drasher. He just didn't want to, or he couldn't.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of the race. It's the strongest stayer won it. The Side of Burley just keep going.
It was a piss poor Stayers hurdle.
He's no speed.
Yeah, but that goal tweet was the moment of it all for me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, what price did it go? Must have went off 11 to 2, 6 to 1.
He went down as short as 4 to 1. I think he might have went back out to 6 or 7s before the off.
Like, where is this money coming from?
Tom, South Africa. Tom in South Africa. Jack the Brownhead Mayor's Novices Hurdle.
Oh, if you don't like jockey bashing, turn off now.
Grade 2. A good ride from the front on You Wear It Well, 16 to 1. Magical Zoe, 15 to 2. I said after the race, no matter what horse he's on, he could be on Denman. Denman could come back to life tomorrow, go out in the Hennessy. If Adrian Heskin's on it, I'll never back a horse that Adrian Heskin's on again. And you can quote me on that. Ever. It doesn't matter the horse. An absolute shocking ride on Magical Zoe, who should have won the race. And then Hackett the Tabert, 12 to 1 in third. Magical Zoe.
The worst ride of the last 10 years of the Cheltenham Festival.
Very, very bad.
I didn't back the horse now, so this is not me talking in pockets. How can you sit a horse
Bob and weave.
15 lengths off the home turn and think you're going to get up and win. He must be riding the McNally's daughter or someone.
McNeil's.
I don't even know what they called. He must be. Because that's the only way that man is keeping rides on horses for them. If I owned that horse, he would never, ever sit in a horse for me again.
Yeah.
Because that was not the first time he gave a McNeil horse a terrible ride. That horse should have won. If Rachel Blackmore, if Davy Russell, if Harry Cobden, if any of them were on that horse would have won.
If Rachel was on Magical Zoe, should have won.
That horse would have won. And when he went to make his move, what did he do? I have a big gap here. Nah, fuck that. I'm going in here.
Yeah, it's fucking incredible stuff. Like
genuinely
incredible stuff.
What's going through his head?
And we thought about the Bartlett, but Tom was so strong on 3-car brag. I was like, I'm not backing him. That's the end of it.
I love 3-car brag. I didn't go near him on Friday.
Just a negative. He's negative on the horse.
He puts 10 pounds on him.
Sean.
Yeah, it was a tough year for the anti-post, but I feel like one might have got away here. And when that news broke on Tuesday morning, I think it was, that Astro Diamond wasn't in here, I was like, oh no.
Oh, she would have pissed up.
I honestly think she would have had a bold saying this, and it's the Helga dude to Bert coming in third, which makes me think she would have had a right chance in here. But the winner got a great front running ride. If you asked any of us before, you would have said the last place you want to be in this race is at the front. You'd like a hold-up horse. But Gavin Sheehan doing this to perfection. She went away well. He left enough under the tank, and she kicked on. I did see the ride by Heskin on Magical Zoe, and I did think he gave her a lot to do. I think he should have been a lot closer. And that Helga did the word. I just feel like Astro Diamond got away there. Going forward, I don't know. What do you think? They got the Fairy House with Magical Zoe. She might get a day there.
Yeah, say so.
Yeah,
that's the main race for the novices, so they'll head that way.
Like, what's that, Kieran? I'm sure Aidan, was it? Aidan will be gutted. Adrian, I can't see us too far away. I'm sure he's still sitting there thinking, how the fuck did I get this beaten?
Oh, sure, look, he's out there losing out on a lot of money.
And another fallout from that race. Fucking Princess Zoe's owner. Throwing the absolute toys out the pram on Twitter, yes. Did you see it?
Yeah. But they're all happy again now.
Like, we wanted her to be up by the pace. The horse needs further. The horse didn't have the pace to be where you wanted it to be. It was her second run over hurdles. What? She's not Pegasus.
Yeah.
What the hell do you expect?
And even in the race like that, as I said, if you had asked all of us, you would have said the last place you want to be in this race is anywhere near the front. Do you think a big burn-up is going to happen?
A front runner done the job. Okay.
But the winner was good.
The winner was good.
Say about the winner. The winner was good.
The winner was
very good. And it makes you wonder, is Hermie Allen's, that Ballymore could be really, really good.
Yeah, the winner likes heavy ground as well, so it's suited her. The ground suited her. On to Friday, 4 more races to cover, and the Triumph Hurdle, Lossy Mouth done the job. Lovely grey filly. Galamarceau in second, Zenta in third, another 1, 2, 3 for Willie Mullins. Lossy was very good. Showed a little bit something different, and this is what I seen when I saw her in France. She kind of tanked her way around, pulled herself to the front and just kept going, whereas she's been kind of held up in her rides up to now during the year. But Paul kind of had no choice at one stage and was tanked to the front, and she stayed on powerfully. Sure she'll probably go for the Mayors next year, but lovely filly.
Lovely filly, very good performance. As I thought, Blood Destiny didn't have enough experience. I thought it all happened way too fast for him. He didn't know what to do when he was in between horses and stuff like that. A negative always will pick out for a Cheltenham Festival. If you have easy races going into there, you can keep him. Don't care who it is. And the fact that he got deserted by first and second jockey. Patrick Mullins was on him, which Patrick Mullins is an amateur jockey, and he gives not amateur rides, but he's not going to be on the level of a Danny or a Paul. As plain and simple as plain as day. So in races like that, I'd be very much in favour of the first and second jockey. But Lassie Mouth, very good performance. Gallimore, so very good. Yeah, as you said, she'd probably go Mayor's Hurdle next year. She's currently, I think she's favourite for it.
Yep.
She's 3-1. And what's her name? Your one? Love Envy.
Love Envy, second favourite.
Second favourite, sevens in value there now. To me, is Love Envy on the back of that race. Yeah, got us off to a great start, tanking at the top of the hill. We're thinking, oh Christ, she's going to do too much now, but no, she just didn't stop. Good performance, got us off to a good start on Tuesday. Yeah, nice mare.
Sean?
Yeah, Andrew touched on it. Blood Destiny. I have a feeling there's a few porkies told about this fella. The first red signal to me straight away was that Paul Townend wasn't on him, and it wasn't Danny. If he was supposed to be walking the way they were talking on the preview, saying Danny Mullins was jumping ship, I can tell you that. If Paul Townend wasn't, and then the drift, whoever was talking wasn't putting that money on Blood Destiny. He went out bigger than Galopin Marceau at the start. Galopin Marceau ended up shorter than him. All the money was for Lassie Mouth in this, so they knew who the best one was. I thought she was unreal. I thought she was very, very good. She didn't have the smoothest passage around. She had that absolute fruitcake in McConnell's. I was thinking, I had a bad Thursday, and this race, I was seeing McConnell's horse jump across her at the 5th, I think it was. And I was like,
he got so angry in the pub. What's he doing out there? What's he doing out there with that joke?
Away from that joke.
Yeah. Like, this thing ended up dragging out and ended up doing a U-turn at the top of the hill and said, listen, I'm going no further. So I was delighted that thing was going out of racing anyways. But then she came tanking coming down the hill, and I'm saying to myself, I don't know what's going to be left under here, but she was travelling so well, and he held enough, and they went up. I thought, Galopin Marceau, as I said, I thought the form would be torn. But that Zenda, that was a massive step forward for her. She only had one run and only came, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks before Cheltenham. And it was hypotenuse that she actually only beat by 3 lengths, who ended up finishing pulled up. I thought her to run third in there. She's coming on leaps and bounds. I wonder how close she could get to Lassie Mouth the next day. Don't know if she's good enough to beat her, but I could see her turning the form at Gallimore. So I think she hasn't got a handicap mark yet. I reckon it's going to be a bit high for Punchestown, but I reckon she's improving big time. I really liked her. I jumped on with sloppy at Fairley House, but she cleaned it up a hell of a lot at Cheltenham, and I didn't think she was anywhere near as good as what she ran there.
Okay, on to the Albert Bartlett. 3 miles for the novice hurdlers is carnage every year. It's just such a tough race for the novices. Stay Away Fade on the job, another Nichols horse. 4, Affordale Fury, 2nd, Sandra Clegane, 3rd. It's a good spectacle, but very hard for all horses involved. 3 Dower Stairs came to the fore.
Yeah, after Corbus Cross decided to headbutt the rail.
Yeah, he would have been in the place. I'm not sure he would have beaten the winner, but
no, I think
he's a strong stayer though, so it's possible. But
I think he's a lot of grown up to do still. I think there's a hell of a lot more to come for him next season.
He travelled like the best horse.
There's a lot more to come from him. The best horse. Sometimes the best horse never wins this race. You have a lot of good horses that placed in this race that went on to better things. Stay Away Faye, very good winner. I was impressed how he battled down and stuck his head down and got onwards. Sandra Clegane ran a massive race. Fences next year, 3 miles. Thank you very much. I'll be following him wherever he goes. He's a nice prospect. I had no real thoughts on the Affordable Fury. I didn't really dig into it yet, but I can't really say anything about that yet. But Stay Away Faye, I like that. The way they battled on well, but it's a weird race. It's like bumper cars for 3 miles. But yeah, winner was good. 3rd has a bright future over Fences, and I think Corbus Cross will turn out to be the best horse in the race.
Sean?
Yeah, they went a really good gallop in here. Coptinga, I think, gave this winner a good ride. He was up there out of trouble. And this thing definitely says longer than the mother-in-law, as they say. I think this horse would. I don't think he'd done much when he got to the front. I'd have a sneaky suspicion he had a bit left under the tank. I don't think he'd done too much when he got over the last. Affordable Fury, you could have gave me 550 to 1. I still wouldn't have backed him. From where he came out the back of the telly and the Lawlers and Ace, they've turned that around massively. And Sandra Clegane, as you touched on, he took a bump and got into a fight early going down the hill the first time. And I think just took too much out of him. He was wide the whole way. I think he might be able to turn that form if that race was run again.
Do you want to do the Mares or the Gold Cup?
Whichever.
We go for the Gold Cup. We'll finish off in the Mares. Gold Cup. Galopin done the job. We're all happy here for Galopin and Willie Mullins. We love that horse. Brave Man's Game, very good race in second. Another Nichols horse that ran well. Conflated, probably the second best 3 mile chaser in Ireland. So a really good form here. The right horses came to the fore. King George winner and second, Irish Gold Cup winner. Or sorry, Savills winner, whatever he won at.
He won the Irish Gold Cup.
Irish Gold Cup at Dublin Racing Festival. And Galopin done the job and put a lot of distance between himself and Brave Man's Game from the last to the line. So he'll go to Cheltenham next year as worthy favourite again, I'd say. Great performance. I was delighted to see it.
Freak.
Yeah,
plain and simple. Horse. Absolute fucking freak.
Very good horse.
Best horse in training. I'm going to get shit for this. He's better than Constitutional. On reins, he is. On every.
No.
I get you. Yeah, the handicapper. 177 versus 180. Match, Sean. Technically,
the DHA dropped him. Actually, did you see that?
On mathematics, he's better than him. It's one of the best Gold Cup performances we have seen since Quarter Star days. It was the ballsiest Gold Cup ride you'll ever see in your life. In a way, he got lucky where he just drifted out at the top of the hill before the fall has happened. That's when Absolute Tarek got stopped in his tracks. But to sit there on the snaff, turning in for home in the Gold Cup, and just wait until you get to the last to press the button. That was a pressure ride with Paul Townend with some set of balls to do that.
Yeah, it's very good.
He didn't jump great by any stretch of imagination. He was scruffy at a few fences, but this horse has gears and gears and gears. I just think he's amazing. He's everything you want in a racehorse. He'll get you from A to B. He'll travel you through a race. You can put him anywhere in a race, and when you want him, he's there. He's not an exuberant horse anymore. He's a perfect racehorse, and it'll take something out of this world to beat this horse in the next year and a half too. It'll take something spectacular because he tied with them. And to beat like Brave Man's Game proved me wrong about staying at Cheltenham. He well and truly stayed. You can I ever say that horse does not stay at Cheltenham? And he made a very, very good King George winner look average. I just think he's amazing.
Sean?
Yeah, I've always said I thought he's out of this world. He was me nap, and there was certain bookies doing 9-4 specials, and there was a couple of accounts set up, let me tell you that. They were boosting him. But I think the project that they done with him this season stood to him massively. I said it all along. I thought they were educating him at Leopardstown, at the first day at Punchestown as well. They got him in and around horses, and it stood massively to him here. It couldn't have went any worse, to be honest with you. Paddy Mullins didn't go a yard, and he ended up falling back down on top of him. He was jumping on top of the back of Absolute Hard, and it just all went bad. And I was thinking early, Jesus, there's nothing going right here. He's going to have to be this starter. I think he is. And then they went off down the back, and he started picking them off slowly. He hit the 5th last. He hit the 3rd last. But then when he came onto the backs of them, I don't know if you could tell me before my time, maybe. I don't know someone who's taking a pull going around the bend at Cheltenham in the Gold Cup to come out off heels and go around again. And the last jump that they done at Leopardstown, I think, stood a million miles of this fella. When he went down to the last bit Brave Man's Game there, they both saw that stride, and he pinged it. And for all the people who doubted him staying, he ran through the line. They had problems even pulling him up at the top of the hill. He nearly went out past the gates at the top of the hill, but he was unbelievable. I think he's a superstar. But there's nothing coming through that I can see beating him. I think the only thing that could beat him is some test race taking heaps out of him, but it doesn't even look like it. He's not giving the full crack. He's saving himself, and he's still pulling away. I think they found the key to Brave Man's Game. I think he ran a smasher. I think running him fresh is the key to him. and two of them he beat the right horses, conflated into like all the right forms there to say that this fella is the real deal. And if that Gold Cup run hasn't proved to you, I don't know what will.
Like there's no end to. We don't know how good he is because he's doing everything so easy.
Yeah,
he's very impressive.
And when he comes off the bridle, all he's doing is picking up.
Yeah, it's scary
and
stuff.
To do that over 3 mile, 2.5 furlongs, and you're still nearly going through the rail at the pull-up area.
He finds a lot off the bridle.
He could win anything.
Yeah, he finds a lot. Last one then, and then we'll give a horse or two to keep an eye on.
Kieran, no, I don't read the Racing Post. Many people have the same opinion. It'd be shock horror.
They're just two tossers. They're just, I wouldn't even know them now. Impervious won the Mayor's Chase from Allegory de Vassy. Pink Legend ran well again in the race. Second year run.
She did.
Was third. A good race. Two mares going at it, hammer and tongs, jumping well. And to me, the more battle-hardened mare won. Allegory went maybe half a length up on the run-in, and she got right out of it. So Impervious is very tough.
Yeah, I said at the preview, I thought the race where she beat Journey with me would stand her instead big time. And again, with the horses coming into Cheltenham on the back of schooling sessions, it counted against Allegory Vassy. She didn't know what to do when she came off the bridle. She couldn't find with Impervious. She's a small mare. She kind of reminds you, she's in the style of Hurricane Fly, the way she's built. She's small, but fuck me, she's tough.
Yeah, she is tough.
She's very tough to get headers, jump into last, and to find 2.5 lengths to go away and win by. It was a very, very good performance. I liked her all season. She's a very good mare. She'll go back here next season. She'd be very, very hard to beat again because all you can see her doing is improving. I'd drop Allegory de Vassy back down and trip and let her rip over 2 miles. Just to see what happens for the crack. There's people saying step her up to 3 miles. This thing wouldn't say 3 miles in the fucking horse box. She's not staying 2.5. How is she all of a sudden going to stay 3 miles?
She's a big mare. I don't know.
She's a big mare. Let her gallop out in front and see what happens. Pink Legend, as you said, very good horse. Third again in this race. She'll probably turn up again next season, but I think Impervious will win this again next year.
Sean?
Yeah, I think it was a good performance. I was all against Impervious. The two top mares came to the top, but I think if they had this race back again, they might run a little bit differently on Allegory de Vassy. This race, the last lap was slower than the Gold Cup by about 11 lengths. I don't think they went to Galopin here at all, and I think it played into Impervious hands. I think she had more toe at the back of the last. Like you seen Allegory de Vassy go and jump past her at the last, and she just didn't have the gears to get away from her. I think she stayed at the one pace where when he rousted Impervious, she had far more gears than her, and she quickened up and went by her. I think if the race was run again, I think they'd want to go quicker gallop. I don't know I'm not going to say it's dead cert that the result changes, but I think
she'd win by further.
Maybe it could be the case, but I just don't think Allegory de Vassy had the toe and she quickened up away from her and couldn't get near her. I wouldn't take anything away from Impervious. I think she was the best mare on the day, but that was just something that I thought if they ran the race a little bit different, they might make more use of Allegory de Vassy going forward now. And she jumped pretty straight in the main. She went right at the first two, but I think there was horses around her moving out as well. But other than that, she went pretty straight.
Yeah, I think Allegory turned the form around now. If they met again,
do you?
Yeah, very much so.
I don't think there's a whole.
I don't think she's streetwise enough. I kind of didn't know what to do when she came off the bridle because she's been doing everything so easy, and it just was all a bit of a shock to her.
Yeah, and then I think that though, if you think of Impervious though, if that horse, if Allegory happened to get up or next to her again, I can guarantee you Impervious is going to go away from her again.
There's no doubt she'll battle, but it's just that race is going to stand to Allegory de Vassy. It's just unfortunate she didn't have that race before Cheltenham because
match bet right now.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah, I just think different circumstances might bring a different result. If they went the right gallop and didn't turn it into a turn of toe that I think it turned into, she might have a better chance.
So you think Allegory de Vassy is better stared than Impervious?
Yes.
I don't know where you're seeing this.
Yeah.
I think like people are saying she didn't stay and she won 2 mile 6 at Limerick on heavy
To me,
ground.
she got
Like,
outspeeded anyway.
yeah, I think she got out.
She got outstayed. How'd she get outspeeded? She got outstayed. She went past her.
Yeah, and then the other one had way more toe.
Stayed past her.
No, way more
Stayed on
toe.
past her. What'd she do when she...
Allegor-
What did Impervious do when she beat Dino Blue and she beat Journey with Me?
Allegory
She
was-
stayed past him. And
Allegory
what happened when
was-
they came back near her? She kept going.
Allegory's going up and down to one spot, like. Literally just going up and down to one spot.
Because she got outstayed.
Impervious is the one that's won over 2 miles, like.
Yeah, she's a good horse. She's just not going to get the credit. She's beaten
How did she
Allegory
not
the
get the
Fatty
credit when
fair
she's
and
won the
square.
race?
She's
She
if
won
the
race.
races run different, it would have been a different result.
But she won the
I
race.
think it could have been. I'm not
Definitely
saying
win.
guaranteed. No.
She would have won by further. Because she would have brought her further. And she would have hit. She would have won by further.
Ginger Joe, Impervious has the turn of foot. It's the same thing that happened in the Supreme. Marine National is just way better turn of foot than Facile has.
Okay. I should not win an argument at all.
That's why we love racing, lads.
Never right. But apparently, okay. I got this before the Mayors, and I was got slated to the hills come home that it's not going to happen. And what happened? It happened.
Loads of people are Impervious. There was barely anything between them in the betting. You either liked one or the other, really. Like.
Yeah.
Sean, horses to follow.
Yeah, I have 3 here for you. I have Gaelic Warrior. I think if he stepped up to 3 miles, lads, I think they go over a fence next season. He could be a potential horse for an RSA. My second one was Cambrond. Aidan Coleman went way too early on this fella, and he didn't have enough left in the tank when they came to him. I can see him dropping back to the exact same race that he went to Punchestown last season. I think he'd take the beating. And I've said it already, Zent in the juvenile hurl. I'll be very interested to see where she goes next.
Yeah, 3 for me. 2 of them are the same as Sean's. I thought Zenta ran very well for a very inexperienced horse, and Willie Mullins tends to throw an inexperienced one at the Triumph, and they end up being good. Ilete Tampa's one that came out this year has won a couple of races. Sander Clegane, I thought was probably the best horse in the race in the Albert Bartlett Bar. We don't know what would have happened with Corbett's Cross, but I thought Sander probably on another day to get his head in front, and I look forward to him over fences. And then Gaelic Warrior, I think he's going to go up and trip, and if they can just manage to curtail his enthusiasm, there's a lot of talent under the bonnet.
Some bio. Same as you, Sandor Kilgane. I think he is going to be a very good horse over a fence. Champ Kiley, once he decides to learn how to settle and go back right-handed, he's a very, very good horse. In the pocket is a very big eye catch for me in Supreme. Again, step up and trip by him. He'll be interesting. Home by the Lee as well. He was very unlucky in the Supreme. I think he'll win that race at Punchestown.
Okay. That's us done for our review for Cheltenham. Thanks for joining us. If you're new to the page, like and subscribe unless your name is Joe Toffin and Kieran Rellis. You two can fuck off. Otherwise,
he's hangry now.
Otherwise,
he's a bit angry.
We'll be back. Alex Deaton, good to see you. I hope you enjoyed Cheltenham. A friend of the podcast. Otherwise, we'll be back Sunday. I'm pretty sure Tom is back, and we will review our anti-post selections. Thanks for joining us. Have a good weekend.